ask to turn off curves. Okay, so this is a lot more cooler. And if I have something that needs to get out of the frame and start out of the frame, I can take again my capsule, my lattice, my base, and just scale the Z down. See? And again at the end I'm going to scale it down a bit. Okay, so around 13 would be good. Now I can play it. I'm working from the camera because that's what actually I'm going to see it. That's what I'm going to render, so it's not important to me. Let's take the low bound, something like this. Maybe turn the curve just a bit down, and the start flare, take it to 0.1 again. So now I have this. Okay, that's cool. Let's give it a color. I have in the hypershade. See, I have blend 1, blend 2, and blend 3. I did a messy job because I didn't give them names. Let's open the hypershade for a sec. And okay, so since it was a yellow line, I'm going to attach it to the yellow blend. I'm going to select the mesh, right click, assign material to selection. Cool. So now that I have this, let's see how I can duplicate it. Pay attention that I didn't use any delete history because it's going to mess everything up. It's all about keeping in touch with the curve, with the lattice, with the polycylinder itself, and the flare. So that helps us to play with it. Let's go back into perspective mode. Turn on all. Okay, so now I want to duplicate this thing and want to create 3 strokes like I had in the previous. I had in the end result. I'm going to select the capsule, just the capsule group, and I'm going to edit, duplicate special it, edit, reset settings. So we're going to start fresh and clean, and I want to duplicate the input graph, because duplicate input graph will actually duplicate the lattice and the curve. It's going to create a duplication of that same thing. So now I'm going to move it just a bit. You see that we have exactly the same thing, even duplicate the curves. But let's say I don't want to use this duplicate curve, although I can take it and mess around with it. But I don't wanna. So what I want to do is I want to say I have this curve. Let's turn on selection highlights. Okay, so I have this curve, the blue curve, and I want my new capsule O2 to move across that path. Let's see how I can do that. What attach the capsule, the group, to the curve is a motion path. Let's look at the attribute editor of it. Motion path, you can see that I can't really control anything from it. I have the U value, I have the follow, selection of the axis. I'm going to need to take a look in the hypergraph. It's going to be here, hypergraph connections. So capsule is connected to motion path. Let's take the motion path and ask for input and output connections. You're going to zoom in, and we can see that the curve shape 4, which is actually this curve, is connected to the motion path using the word space 0 from the curve, and it's going to give input to the geometry path on the motion path. So we're going to just need to switch that. Let's see how we can do that. I'm going to select the motion path from the hypergraph and open the connection editor using Window, General Editors, Connection Editor. And since I'm going to connect something to it, I'm going to reload it into the right section because it's from left to right. And I can see here that geometry path is already connected to something. Next, I want to select curve 02 and I'm going to reload it. And I'm going to look here for world space 0. And I'm going to save the hassle. It's not going to be here because we have world matrix and inverse matrix and stuff like that, but we won't see the world space. Because when you're selecting something, either from the outliner or from the 3D view, you're selecting its transform node. If I'm going to open the attribute editor, what I actually have selected is this node, transform. I need to select the shape node, the NURBS curve node. So I'm going to move to that tab and hit select, and now it's selected, and I'm going to ask to reload that. So now I can see that curve shape 2 is loaded into here, and let's take a look. Let's look for the world space. Let's see. Oh, here it is, world space. And let's see, I can't use it. Let's take a look at the hypergraph again. World space 0.